Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Channel Your Light, Own Your Intuitive with myself, Erin Chandler. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I want to talk about the omission of the 13th zodiac sign, Ophiuchus. I want to talk about this because this is actually the base foundation of this 1212 portal and the process that most of us are going through in order to jump this timeline, utilize this catalytic energy of the 1212 portal. Now, I wish to stress that portals, we can do catalyst energy every day. We transform ourselves every single day. But sometimes there's this potent energy that gives an extra kick where there's alignments of flows of constellations and trines and planetary systems and all kinds of things that line up in a certain way that allows us to utilize it to, I guess, give us an extra push, an extra hand from the universe is what I wish to call that or label it as. So the foundation of this 1212 portal, which is very potent, transformative energy and more so and more significant than probably, let me tell you, says my guys, than all of the other portals that would have happened in 2023. Here's the reason why. The numbers 1212 reference a lot of different things. 12 is typically looked at as there's 12 zodiac houses in the pie, correct? That means that there's 12 zodiac signs, except that there isn't. There's a 13th zodiac sign, which was omitted a long time ago because 12 is a much cleaner dimensional aspect to look at. There's a number of other different reasons, easier for even divisiveness or even division in those 12 astrological houses. Now, the 1212 portal, what's 12 times 12? It's 144. What is 144 associated with for most people who go on a spiritual journey or people who relate to Christianity? It's often viewed as the chosen ones. Now, everybody has a different idea or concept or belief system about what it is. Some people feel it's they're chosen people who have special gifts and skills and are going to save humanity. Other people think that it's, your original 144,000 DNA blueprint coding. There's just so many different ways that people have viewed the 144,000. But what if we took the underpinning foundation of what that actually meant? Because some people feel it's about the Jewish people. I'm not saying one is right or wrong, but I do wish to bring it down to this seed underneath it and look at it from that aspect. So 144, the representation of that numerical value, which is part of the Fibonacci sequence, and so is 13, side note. Because we're looking at 144, that's actually our God energy, our activating our God energy within us, embodied on the earth plane. People say that, I got an itchy nose. It's always somebody specifically in spirit. Oh, with messages for me. Thank you. So the interesting and fascinating thing about this whole 144 concept is, we think people are chosen. Well, you have to choose. And the activation of all of those gifts and skills and that embodiment of your full I am manifesting presence, your full Kundalini energy and power and flow and all of those things. It's really just activating the God particle within you. That's how we're going to use it for this example. So the 1212 portal is the catalyst, transformative, catapulting energy for you to go from this previous 12 version of you into this 12 version of you, putting the past and the future together as one. And this is directly related to the skills of Ophiuchus, which is the zodiac sign we're going to talk about, all coming into one, into that, activating that God source particle so that you're operating on this earth plane fully embodied with your full I am presence. So what's the activation of your God particle? It's the I am. It is everything and nothing. It cannot be separate. It is one. That means you can manifest as one. You focus as one, and yet you can be all around. It's an incredible concept that I don't think that I could put into words. Let me tell you, says my guide. It's something that's so simple and yet so profound. So When we're looking at this 1212 portal, you can look at this as the activation of the God particle, what you've been working towards this entire year. Side note, most of you will have noticed that 2023 has had a lot of highs and a lot of lows, a lot of scattering, a lot of new endeavors, and a lot of, yep, definitely I'm leaving that behind and I'm not going back to that, or I'm not engaging in that anymore. We've had both those dynamics really prominent in 2023. For a lot of us, it's been personally in our regular community, and it's also been on the world stage in other countries. You will notice dark really being amplified, light really being amplified. You'll notice the duality of the two of them becoming amplified as well. Here's what this has to do with Ophiuchus. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ophiuchus, the 13th zodiac sign, which this 1212 portal is actually in. So Ophiuchus is the 11th largest zodiac constellation. It's ancient. This is not something new. It was simply omitted, this 13th zodiac house, from the zodiac signs and that whole conversion. So you won't find it as a house. You won't find it as one of your regular zodiac signs, the regular 12 zodiacs. However, Ophiuchus is from November the 29th until December the 17th. Some people say it's from November the 30th until December the 18th. There's two different options there, give or take a day. So Ophiuchus is smack dab between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Now here's why this is important. Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer. It is the snake charmer. It is the healer. This is important as the 13th house of unity and regeneration, death and rebirth. There's so many beautiful things about this sign. Because it flanks Scorpio and Sagittarius, I want you to put this into the perspective of the two culminations, because this is a transformative journey. What is Scorpio, my friends? It is such a deep, loyal, looking at the deep emotional darkness and all the different things of the human aspects, both personally and seeing it in others. Scorpios, I absolutely love. And what is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is right up to the cosmos, about expansion. It is about higher learning, all of those different aspects. So if we look at Scorpio being like the depths of the ocean, all of those nitty gritty things that a lot of people ride the surface, not a Scorpio. So Scorpios are the deep, dark depths, and Sagittarians are this high cosmo expanded learning, lucky, all about that universal higher learning. Going up, shooting their arrow, follow your arrow wherever it points. That's really what Sagittarius is. Now I want you to stop and think about this. Ophiuchus is the healer. Ophiuchus has the gift of balancing energies. That is what this sign does. It takes the deepest, darkest, tremendous wounds, emotional patterning, and transforms them into that light, bringing the dark to the light. So those who are from the sign of Ophiuchus, they're the balancing energy. They're the healer, the healing of the darkness, bringing it into the light and transforming it as a full trine of alchemy. If we go from Scorpio, balance the energy into Ophiuchus, and then we go to Sagittarius, which is the expansion and growth. Ophiuchus is related to the fifth element. So when we look at all the different 12 zodiac signs, they fall under earth, air, water, fire, or ether. The fifth element is ether. Now, doesn't that make sense? Because ether is all about spirituality. It's about awareness, and it is about balancing energies. Where would we need to balance energies when we have these dark areas and these brilliant, beautiful, expanded light areas? Balancing the two of them. That is the gift, this zodiac sign and the traits that it has. It also represents death and rebirth, That is what Ophiuchus represents. It is the snake. It is shedding a skin and leaving this old skin behind you and moving forward in a new skin of you. Now, what's Scorpio represented by in the Tarot? The Death card. And what is Sagittarius represented by in the Tarot? Temperance. Isn't that interesting? Death and rebirth, balancing energy, moving toward that expansion and growth. So Ophiuchus is this beautiful, wonderful sign that has been omitted and is the 13th sign. 13 is also part of the Fibonacci sequence as well, and is that unification between the different houses and the different dimensional aspects. When we don't balance the energy and we don't have healing after we've been in these dark depths, we can't possibly expand, grow, or do anything if we have not examined and balanced out the energy to be able to have growth and to open to something else. So those from the 13th zodiac sign, you will know if this is you. Guess what else is incredible about this sign? Ether is also associated with speaking deep truth. It is connected to the throat chakra. Your throat chakra is blue ray, the color of blue. It is divine expression of deep spiritual truths. That is part of Ophiuchus's purpose, traits, all of those different things. Now, the interesting thing is, Ophiuchus is not ruled by a planet, but rather a planetoid who also happens to be related to Greek mythology. And that's Chiron. And what's Chiron? Chiron is considered, if you know your astrological charts, the wounded healer. So here's what's fascinating. You have Ophiuchus, who straddles the celestial equator. That's where this constellation is. It straddles the celestial equator. It's also got 1 foot in Scorpio, which is the deep, dark, watery depths of the human experience. And it's got another foot all the way up here in the cosmos, rocking and rolling with the divine realms, the angelical realms, and God's source, spirit, creation itself. So those who are from this zodiac sign usually have incredible divine gifts. They have a lot of wisdom. They have the gift of taking the deepest, darkest shit and finding that balance in order to make it into an expansion of light and growth and understanding. That's their gift. And who are they ruled by? The wounded healer. What are they represented by? The serpent, the snake, the death and the rebirth, the entire process, shedding a skin to expand, to grow, to move forward into a new version of you. The zodiac house, Ophiuchus, is so important to understand about the 12-12 portal. That's what you've been doing up until this point. You have been trying to balance the energies of this deep, dark, watery depths of our human experience, the trauma, the codependency, the addictions, any darkness, any lack of self-love, any self-perceiving limitations. We've been looking at all those things, my friends, and anything that has been imbalanced in the duality has been amplified. It's so that we can expand into this light. We have to balance it in order to jump from one version of us into another. Oftentimes, we're moving through different dynamics of who we are and what we are and why we are, and we examine those self-limiting perceptions or beliefs or the dynamics of relationships that we're in so that we can learn from them and grow in. So Ophiuchus and the portals are intended to give us an extra oomph and a kick, I'm being told somebody's getting a kick into this energy of this portal so that we have the energy to start taking actions in alignment with this God particle. I'm the creator of my own world. Not only am I the creator of my own world, I now have access to energy that I didn't necessarily have a flow to before, that I didn't necessarily understand before. And side note, you probably had all these other experience in other people and transference of energy in your energy that also negated from you being able to step into that energy or feeling like you couldn't or feeling like you kept going back and forth and back and forth. So this is what we've been preparing for, my friends, is this aspect right here. Now, Ophiuchus, because they have this beautiful skill of being able to take the darkest experiences and balance them and find the divine light, they have their feet on the ground down at the depths of the ocean, and yet they are giants. They are reaching up to the heavens, to the angelical realms, to the divine, drawing in spiritual wisdom as they alchemize that deep darkness. It's like the epitome of the yin yang sign, I want to say. It's balancing those energies. This is your birthday, happy birthday. If you're actually the 13th zodiac sign, because this portal is also on a new moon, new you, new skin, new dimension, new perceptions, new energies. What else is the 13th representative of? The Earth Star chakra. Some people call it ground zero. Some people call it the zero chakra. I personally have always been divinely told to reference and label it as the 13th chakra energy center, your Earth Star chakra. Think about the concept of your Earth Star chakra. Think about the concept of the Kundalini, which is also the snake. In addition, what is in our medical system today? What is it usually referenced by? A staff with either a single snake or two snakes. Now, there is a difference between the two of these, and these date back quite some time ago, back into Greek mythology. Also, the snake around the staff was also originally related to commerce when it's in a certain imagery. It was only adopted by our medical system. Side note, that's a message for somebody on here who deals with pharma and those aspects to understand where that all came into play. Anyways, so let's get back to the medicine of this, the actual medicine, which is snake medicine, which is death and rebirth, which is a highly feminine energy. Kundalini is often looked at as the snake moving up. If we look at the 33 Christed moving up the spinal up into there, we look at the 13 chakra energy centers. This is life force energy. The snake represents life force energy, the natural cycles of death and rebirth. And 13 is highly feminine. Why do you think we have 13 feminine cycles in a year, every 28 days? Why do you think we have 13 moons? I'm just saying, friends, there's so many different pieces of the puzzle here that have been omitted or vilified or demonized in different areas of definitely Western society, Christianity. So let's go back to Ophiuchus, the 13th foundation, and the 1212 portal. So I want you to think about all 12 houses, okay, of the zodiac. Even if, let's say you're an Aries, okay? Let's say you're an Aries sun and a Pisces moon and a Virgo ascending. Let's say that's your chart. Even though that's your chart and that's what's identified, every single human being has all the houses in their chart. You could look at it as the very beginning, the first zodiac house, which I believe is Aries, actually, as the very beginning and moving all the way around the 12 houses to the very end. It's like the wheel of fortune, moving all the way around the wheel, moving all the way around the fourth dimensions, and transcending to the next level, transcending to the next pattern. Think about it as baby, toddler, young child, tween, teenager, adult, right? Think about that whole concept if you need to put it into that context. Even though that's not the reference of the different zodiac houses, you could look at those in terms of self-development and personal growth, because we have all of them in our charts. They are somewhere because we have all houses. Now, doesn't it make sense that the 13th house, the zodiac sign of the healer, where we balance out the energies of our experience and alchemize them, would we not need that in our chart? Isn't that information that's relevant, that allows us to catapult us into the next dimension? It's the house of unity. It's the zodiac sign of the healer that takes those experiences from the first 12 houses as we make our way around the different perceptions of it, because there are also the 12 dimensions, around the perceptions of it, into the house of unity to be balanced and expanded. The 13th zodiac sign, some astrologers believe it needs to be in there. It should never have been omitted. and others don't feel that way at all. I'm not here to say whether it's right or wrong, but if you were to ask me personally, and my opinion with the divine, because spirit has been on me for like 2 months now. You need to talk about the 13th house of unity. You need to talk about 13. You need to talk about 13. We need to give information about 13. So here we are. So this is divinely coming through. The importance of this is significant. It's significant because it's a piece of the puzzle. How many of you have gone around loops and patterns and wonder why you keep going through the same thing and the same thing and the same thing? What if it's because there's a piece of information that we all need that's missing that allows us to step into that I am presence and power? So this 1212 portal is actually the official, I'm hearing grand rising, the official rising of the 13th house of unity, which requires regeneration, which requires a death of the old and a rebirth, transformation and a rebirth into the new, shedding the old skins, the old consciousness, the old ways of thinking into the new ways of thinking and the new consciousness and the new perception. So feeling like we're only utilizing half of our energy into utilizing a massive flow of life force and chi energy. 13 is significant. The serpents are significant. The power within understanding that you're standing right now in the 13th zodiac house of the serpent healer is significant because this is where you balance energy. So some people look at it as, oh, it's Sagittarius season and it's Scorpio season. What if we're missing a season and it's the season that unifies everything that came up to it in order to expand us into the growth of the Sagittarius? Now, many people will say, well, we hit Sagittarius anyways, and we do. But how do you hit the Sagittarian energy and actually utilize it for your highest good, to focus on what you want and manifest and master? How do you do that if you didn't balance the energy from the deep depths of the Scorpio? Having access to the information or understanding the 13th house and what it means and what it's ruled by and how to utilize it is very, very helpful, my friends. It's like getting a piece of the map that was torn off and put over there. It's like looking at the map saying, well, how do I get from here to there? Because I seem to go around this way and then go back around down the loop. Go this way and back around down the loop. I'm being referenced. Ava says, Mom, that's why the map shifter came in September. That was also part of the preparation. The map shifter shifts the map entirely. When you call back pieces of yourself, which is also what the 13th zodiac house, the healer, is about, calling back all pieces of yourself. When you retrieve a piece of your map that has been missing for centuries, ancient, you tend to feel more whole. And that is how you can access the God particle within, which is simply your I am presence, which is simply the calling of all energies that are not in divine alignment with your own soul's core essence. Do you also understand why 13, the serpent energy, the death and the rebirth, was so demonized and vilified throughout Christianity? You'll notice it was also attuned to the feminine aspects. The healer winds around snakes, is kind of like Medusa. She's showing me Medusa when Medusa's head was chopped off. And the mythology, I don't know it exactly, but there's something about somebody accessed the Gorgolon, I want to say, accessed the snakes, and one half of Medusa's head contained poison. If you touched that or took it into you, it would kill you. And the other half held divine power and wisdom and information and light. That can be used for both, right? Our divine power can be used to poison others, or it can be used to enlighten and hold in kindness and expand others. But first it starts with the self. I am only going to poison someone else if the poison is within me. I am only going to be able to help and serve and share and love and have kindness and unity if that is my energy within. I'm also being referenced again to that show from Netflix, that SUEMRIAN. So if you feel called, please check it out. Clearly it's for somebody because it keeps coming up here. It has a lot of metaphors in there as well. So what else do we want to share about the 13th house? This is also related to the 13th house of unity, says Ava. That is a completely other channel because we are tapping into ancient Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, including multiple other different faiths and cultures, tapping into what that actually means and why it was omitted, or rather the information that is required to have a greater and fuller understanding, because this is a rise of the 13th house of unity. That is what you have been preparing for, the missing information. It was demonized and vilified partially because it was actually utilized by another sect or subset of souls or a specific group or house that wish to maintain the power within themselves. However, the rising of the house of unity is actually about the God source power, the collective consciousness, the I am presence within, and will be shared with the entire collective consciousness for the purpose of self-empowerment, unity, peace, harmony, and greater understanding for the evolution of human beings on the earth plane. In addition, what it was used for the vilification and the concept of the 13, this is why they used the number 13 and also why they demonized it. Okay then, that rest of that channel, Ava says, the rest of that channel is on the House of Unity channel that's coming up. If you want more info on that, please click the notification bell. For me, this information personally is significant. It has helped me to put together so many pieces of the puzzle that didn't make sense here on the earth plane because we're not given all the puzzle pieces. We're not given all the esoteric information unless you go to seek it out. But if you don't know to seek it out and you're indoctrinated into a system that says keep your eyeballs here and don't look anywhere else, and you're programmed, conditioned, and patterned into that, well, why would you look outside of you? Because you've got this veil on top of you. So that's a whole other channel. I can't wait to see you on that one and to share the rest of the information that came out. She says this is specifically related to the 13th zodiac house of the healer, which is it was intended for all of the healing energy to be rolled out into the collective consciousness. Think about frequency, healing frequencies, sound frequencies. All of these things are part of that rebirth energy, right? It's shedding an old skin, it's shedding old DNA, it's realigning your particles, it's realigning your atoms and DNA. It's the reptilian brain, right? The part of your brain, the old reptilian section of the brain. And then really stepping into activating all the other centers in a fluid flow from that pineal gland eye of Horus. It's really incredible when you think about it. So this 1212 portal, this is what you've been preparing for, many of you, for a very long time. Some of you will notice it got amplified in 2023 because all that dense, dark, limited consciousness, thought forms, attachments, codependency, traumas, egos, that stuff doesn't really align with this whole concept of the healed aspect of you. So this is what you've all been doing for the last year. And for many of us, some of you, your whole lives, what you've been working towards. And it's not like it's a one and done. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I hit 1212 portal and I'm a different person the next day. Most of you will notice, I'm being told, let me tell you, most of you are going to notice that suddenly you feel different one day. Maybe you have a bit more confidence than you did before. Maybe you have a spring in your step about something. Maybe you're having epiphany moment after epiphany moment about old things, limited beliefs, things that stopped you before, or things you never even thought of just dropping in. Those are all key indicators of like a spiritual promotion, I want to say, or an up level, or moving to the next level, or a DNA upgrade, or increasing your consciousness level or perceptions. Those are all very clear indicators. Sometimes the shift is very subtle, and other times it's very pronounced. Our job is to continue and maintain the momentum of that once we experience it, because you can choose to go back into the other old things, the old ways of doing things. Again, I'm being referenced to the reptilian brain, the Piscean age, the distortions, the imbalances of power. We can easily go back into that. We have to actually maintain the momentum of the trajectory of the thing that we want, of being masterful, of being in our I am presence, which means most of us are going to have to cultivate a really strong spiritual practice. And that means when stuff looks like it's back over here, you have to maintain your spiritual practice. And it requires effort. It requires you to focus and commit to that. And this is a powerful message. Thank you, Spirit. So right now, this 1212 portal is significant, and the foundation of it is based in the 13th house of unity. It is based in that zodiac sign of Ophiuchus. It is based in the healer serpent energy of death, transformation, and rebirth. We are no longer going to be using the serpent as the poison within us to poison us. Side note, that's a message for somebody earlier where I said there was some side note message about pharma. But it's actually meant to be used to expand, heal, and enlighten us into a higher level of consciousness, of unity, of oneness with all that is, and the collective consciousness, and our full I am presence and life flow energy. That is what that is intended to be for, just like the Kundalini. So that's actually what's happening in this 1212 portal, which is why 1212, 12 by 12 is 144, is the reference of that activating we say the chosen ones, but I usually reference this as your choosing. You've always been chosen. It's you choosing to move towards that oneness, choosing to go towards your I am, choosing to evolve into a better person, choosing to alchemize any of the experiences we've had. Because when we get to that place, we can look at that dark experience and say, wow, that was a form of light too, because that was a stepping stone to who I am and what I am and why I am and the very reason I'm standing in my I am presence. Therefore, we do not look upon it as less than. We thank it with gratitude because it is the very reason that we were able to get there. Some of you probably have already embodied different states of this along your journey. Somebody on here, somebody on here is very heart-based energy, very loving, very kind. You have also alchemized the crap out of your experiences, and you're like a chain breaker. You're like a next level ability to take the darkest experiences and transform them into light. Whoever that is, it is profound. It's actually shocking. It's actually unheard of. And when I say unheard of, like if anybody were to ever hear the whole story, it's almost like you've never shared the whole story, or you don't share it with people. It's like kept secret, kept hidden within you, like you don't require to tell people. But the amount of wisdom that you have cultivated in that alchemy is next level. I went on next level is what I'm hearing. And I am so grateful that you are here because you're also balancing the masculine and feminine energies. So now I'm being told as a last reference to go back. The reason why the chakra energy centers and the 13th chakra energy center of the Earth Star chakra, which is what I label it as personally, always has been, is to look at that as your Earth Star chakra. That's where we root and ground on the 3D Earth plane, all that beautiful divine energy that we're calling in, rooting it on the Earth plane into the electromagnetic fields, onto the Earth Star chakra, and all the way back up. It is a consistent flow, creating that Taurus energy, I guess you could say. You can do it both ways. So if we look at it in that concept, the 13th Earth Star chakra also could be connected to Ophiuchus, which is the healer, the balancing of the energy of the dark and the light on the earth plane. It's really important that we are anchoring, rooting, and balancing the energy from all of our experiences. It's a human experience, my friends. It is not all sunshine and roses, and it is also not all dark. There are some souls who have chosen predominantly dark. There are some souls who have chosen as much light as possible. And there's all these mass people all in the in-between. So I don't want to limit it or paint a picture that there's only, people doing this, that, and the other thing. But it's a human experience, and everybody's experience is going into the melding pot. Everybody's experience is recorded in the collective consciousness. Everyone's thought forms, energies, emotions, and manifestations are also found in the collective consciousness through the ethers and a couple other different ways to access it. My point here is we're on the earth plane, spiritual beings, embodied to have a human experience, to experience the 3D form and the beauty and the light and the dark and the sensuality and creating and uncreating and all these things. There's going to be light and dark in the creation process. Think about the womb. We're born out of the dark. The physical human aspect is born from the darkness of the womb, bringing light into the day. Think about the serpent and the shedding of skin. What is the female cycle? Every 28 days, we are shedding a skin, a lining. We're shedding in that process in order to give birth, in order to have rebirth. See how all that works out? The same as the serpent energy was this beautiful, sensual, feminine energy. I love feminine energy, and I don't just say that because I'm a female. I genuinely love it because it is so powerful and yet can be so gentle and tender. It has a death and a rebirth and transformation all in it. It is a feminine energy that is absolutely exquisite in the death and rebirth, creation and destruction. Old world, new world. Whew. For those of you who know snake medicine, it is very ancient. So there's just so many interconnections, but I'm being told specifically that I am to reference ENKI, who is the god of earth, and snakes often are those deep, they hide in the darkest of places. They're in the deep earth. They're reference of Mother Earth, right? That whole context of it, the shedding and the rebirth. Let's look at the Celts, the Celtic goddess CORRA, or CORRA. I'm going to say CORRA. She represented having your feet on the ground and going up to the sky, the divinity reaching upwards always. It is the nurturing of Mother Earth, your 13th Earth Star chakra in this embodied 3D Earth plane, but bringing in that connection to divinity at the same time, embodied. She was considered, the Celts considered this very old, not very many people reference her, but she's actually the goddess of serpents for the Celts before new Christian era stepped into that whole area. Anyways, you'll notice ENKI, god of the earth, was actually related to the snakes and related to Ophiuchus and related to moving heaven and earth is what I'm hearing. Moving heaven and earth. You can't move heaven if you haven't moved earth, and you can't move earth if you're not tapped into heaven. See that? That's what I'm hearing right now. So it's fascinating. You need both ends of the spectrum. You need to be able to cultivate both. It is the same as the gender principles, right? You need the masculine and the feminine energy. And if you omit, dim down, stamp down, do something to take away from one of those energies, there is naturally, what's the natural cause and effect? An imbalance in that masculine, feminine energy. And I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about the actual energy that resides within all of us, the yin yang. So there's that aspect as well. And I'm being referenced that very, very clearly right now. And that's in reference coming from ENKI is what I am hearing. It's not the first time that I've had ENKI show up. Anyways, I'm being told it is the modeling after the heaven and the earth, the process of it, right? As above, so below, as below, so above. It's utilizing all of these different things. You can go back to, back to Egypt. I got sidetracked there. I got sidetracked with Imhotep. I got sidetracked with ENKI about Imhotep, who Imhotep technically is a direct descendant of ENKI is what I am hearing in some way, shape, or form, hidden in plain sight and rose through the ranks. So he had high spiritual rank as a priest. He also was part of the architectural, that's part of the story, the architectural concept of building the pyramids. However, my intuitive guidance and my channels have indicated something not really in alignment with that, but we'll talk about that in another channel. Let's look at Greeks. Asclepius, maybe that's how you pronounce it. Asclepius was actually taught by Chiron, and he's known as the ancient Greek god of healing. And who's Chiron? Chiron was the wounded healer and the planetoid, the centaur, who actually is the ruler of Ophiuchus, the 13th zodiac house, which is related to what? healing. You'll notice that all the gods and goddesses of healing are also related to serpents and snakes. You'll also notice that they're all related in some way, shape, or form and interconnected with wisdom, healing, water, Mother Earth, that death and rebirth energy. So if we go to that aspect of that Greek story and all of the ancient Greek background of the Greek gods, these are all interconnected. The 13th zodiac house, just to tap into the last little piece of this energy is significant. It is a portal, 1212, into your God source particle, 144. If we look at the Fibonacci sequence, 13 is part of the Fibonacci sequence, as is 144. Without 13, how will you ever get to the 144? If you miss the step or the part of the sequence that's required for the full sequence, you'll notice the Fibonacci is always depicted as the spiral. What is the snake? It is curling and spiraling. What is the Kundalini? 13 chakra energy center, the healer, the balancing, the dark and the light, the depths of emotions into the expansion. Ophiuchus, ruled by the ether, spiritual awareness, balancing energies, and the divine throat expression. So that's all I'm going to share on that because I know I've talked a lot. I hope that this information has helped. Let me know in the comments if you've understood something you didn't understand before. I want to know that. I'm more than happy to research and look up more information and tie it into the divine connections because I really love doing that, taking the information that we do have and being able to intertwine it and find the unique dynamics or perceptions of it that help us put puzzle pieces together that maybe we didn't think about before, or as I'm hearing hidden divine knowledge, hidden divine wisdom. That's what I'm hearing with that context, to put it into logical terms that make sense for us in our everyday lives. And that is the beauty of spirit. And that is also one of the gifts of many of those who are in the zodiac sign of Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus. I really hope I said that right. Anyways, beautiful souls, happy 1212 portal. I hope you found this helpful. And happy birthday to all those in the 13th zodiac sign.